spent a bit more time with it, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm really enjoying about the UI updates to Figma. I'm going to do this one in dark mode since someone asked on my previous video if dark mode was still even a thing since everyone is demoing it in light mode. I think it looks really good in light mode. My Figma is personally set to my system settings, so that's just going to change for me with time of day. But to kick us off, let's talk about the workspace. I love that we've taken things out of the top bar and moved them around on our screens. Having the toolbar, nav bar thing down here, I think is really nice. I personally think it looks nice and it's very functional and out of the way for me. Having the title of the file and the location of the file over in the left-hand panel here is also really nice. Moving both of those things out of that top bar gives at least the illusion of having more vertical space. I have not measured. I don't know if the space is actually more, but anything that sort of gives the idea of having more space is really great for me. I know that some people have maybe complained about the way that the side panels are not anchored, about how there's that extra space that you can see on either side of them. For me, that actually feels like it opens the canvas up for me. Having that UI lay on top of my workspace rather than be anchored on the sides makes me feel like that space is there and available to me. It's also really, really easy now to minimize that UI. So I can do Shift / here to bring my UI into this minimized just side panel view. This new button here next to the title in the left-hand panel is also where you're going to be able to minimize and reveal that UI. You can also have it go away completely, which really frees up that space. If you were showing your file to anyone and they wanted to see your whole mess, you can make that happen for them. Let's bring it back. As far as the side panels themselves go, it's great that you can shrink and grow them. I did not realize until I was watching the keynote on the new UI that you couldn't previously do this on the right side panel. I guess I just assumed that because we could do it on the left, we could do it on the right, but it's great. I love that we can control the size of these things. I do think that there's an opportunity for a bit of an interactive animation or interactive element here. They do snap small and big pretty quick if you're just going back and forth. Figma, please let me pull them. Please let me have it like a little overextension before it snaps back into that maximum width. Not that they're busy or anything over at Figma. Some other small little things that I'm enjoying. The change between design and dev mode is really sleek. So if I toggle it down here, you'll see that bar get smaller and the color cues change. I think that's just a nice little piece of interaction there. I do know that they're trying to do a bit of color coordination, blue for design mode and green for dev mode, but something about the way that my workspace looks right now makes me wish that I could change or customize the color of this cursor, just because it's the only sort of default color that's in my UI right now. Let me change it, Figma. In terms of other changes, a lot has happened with the right side bar. You'll see a lot of people talk about the changes to location of any number of things, the way that auto layout and position look a little bit different now. One tool that I think is going to be really helpful while we're all learning the new location of anything, and also for people who are new to the program in general, is the ability to actually label everything over in this right-hand panel. And I would never have found this if I hadn't seen someone mention it somewhere online, tweet about it or something. But this is actually also a menu. It's not just zoom. And in this menu is a new ability to add property labels. And you'll see how once we have that clicked, everything in here is labeled so we can get a better understanding of just what everything is doing and where everything is now. There are also some nice icon updates in this sidebar. I think the new auto layout button is really nice. I really like the new icons for the various effects, which you can now switch through right here with this drop down. A nice little drop down, not having to click through anymore, and it's nice to have that visual cue as well. In terms of things that I'm not necessarily loving, speaking of drop downs, show content is now a drop down, so show and clip. It feels like an interesting UI choice to have something that is essentially a toggle be a drop-down menu, and it makes me wonder if they're making space for us to eventually have different options for clipping, a more robust list that would require that drop-down. Other things that are a little weird in terms of naming or how things are called, I don't love that the AI icon is leading to something called actions. I know it's not all AI in here. This is also where you're going to look for asset libraries. You can find plugins and widgets here, but this is where they're putting the AI stuff, and it's called actions, and everything else is also an action. So I think we should just maybe talk about a new name for that, or maybe everyone else loves it and I'm alone, but that's a bit of a weird one for me. I don't necessarily also love how the UI looks with rulers. Something about this left side ruler being on the far side of the left panel doesn't quite work for me. I mean, obviously, if I minimize or hide them, I'm going to be able to bring those into a little bit more alignment. If we've got the markers on it, that's also like you're still able to do that dragging. If you have it with the UI open, it just, that interaction, I don't love it. I don't necessarily like how that looks. I don't like what that's doing. It closes in this new open workspace. So I'll probably be rulers off as much as possible there. Other than that, I think that the changes are really good. I think that this new UI is very welcome. I know Figma seemed really worried when they were presenting it that the people were going to be stressed about it rather than excited about it. And so far for me, it is definitely a good change. Oh, I forgot to mention too, when you start a new file in your assets panel, you can immediately bring in Material 3, iOS, or even Figma's new simple design system, which is nice to be able to add something like that straight to your file from the get-go. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'm interested to hear others' thoughts on it. Maybe you found something really delightful that I haven't noticed yet. Maybe you're being bothered by something that I haven't learned to be bothered by yet. So let me know. Also, the cursor angle changed. Look at this. My cursor's gonna fall over. Why is it angled like that? Figma, put it back.